Welcome everyone. We'll talk about safety audit and basic premises of safety audit in this presentation. Yes, this will be a little bit theoretical in nature, but if you go through this particular video, you will understand the fine nuances of the safety audit thereby. So exactly what is meant by safety audit? It's basically verifying the existence and implementation of elements of occupational safety and health system. Why do we do it? For to verify the system's ability to achieve defined safety objectives, and easily defined safety objectives is all about towards zero accidents. So yes, verifying this existence and implementation of the elements of occupational safety is the objective. Now let us understand the concerns of the management. Number one is the quantity produced in relations to the production schedule and the market requirement. We are talking about optimum utilizations of productivity. We are talking about Six Sigma limits of productions. We are talking about improved quality every time that we comes around it. We are talking about the cost, reducing of the cost. We are talking about having the objectives of each stakeholders being managed, being merged as on when on basis. So, what is a safe and a sound knowledge that comes around it? Remember, a study of top companies in the world indicates that the safety and loss prevention programs are essential for the prosperity of company, for the branding of the company, for recognizing the company as a safe place to work around it. It is an essential part of making a good business sense. So why do the question is, why do the organizations bother about safety? Number one, it's a part of the integral strategy. No one, not a single employers, not a single management would be interested upon any accident occurring in their factories, in their plants, in their offices, because every accident is an impediment towards the productivity. That means loss of man hours, loss of machine hours, and loss of profit in short. So it is a part of your corporate strategies. Finances, yes, the money is involved. Human resources, yes, the lives, the people are involved. The marketing, the product design, the product liability comes around it. We are looking at manufacturing and operating policies. Yes, information management system is being placed in, and it is a societal concern. No wonder whether an employee is working within the vicinity of the company, he or she should term it as a safe workplace to work around it. Forget an employee, a human being within which, on the premises of the society that exists, if the organization is built within the neighborhood areas, people would be wary of the fact that if this particular company is into certain hazardous materials, or should I say in operation which is accident prone, people won't fact. So there is a societal concern that comes around with the increased concerns on impact on public. Remember, public and not just only the workforce. Workforce is the employee concern. Public intolerance of risk, which do not have a clear benefit to those being affected. When I say clear benefit, they are not earning their wages. They are not earning the salaries. They are probably not even earning their livelihood. But because of the fact that this premises, this company is being located at their within the society, is a big concern of question for them. So readiness to press for the retributions to those who cause harms and seek compensation. So we should, as a company, should transparency and probably the compliance that the government has already laid down. Demand for a full information and full public involvement as transparent as possible. This will only foster growth and confidence in them. Let us understand the corporate strategy. What is it? We are talking about the business mission. We are talking about the code of ethics and the philosophy thereby. The company image in the communities, the environment impacts, management professionalism, as the case might be. What are we looking at here? Finance is a loss control and cost reduction strategies, product liabilities, the legal liabilities, and the property damages that comes around it. Why are we looking for risk retentions or transfer? Investment decision concerning business acquisition. Yes, every time there's an accident, there is a loss control, there is a cost reduction strategies. We need to pay compensation to the person getting affected. There is a product liability, there's a legal liabilities, and probably the company might have to defend certain lawsuits altogether. Yes, we are not discounting the property damages, the risk retention or transfer. So investment decisions are concerning the business acquisition in terms of human resources. Why do we go about by it? It is all about work and job structuring. It is all about morale and retaining people, the positive health structure that the person has to suffer. Let us look at the marketing products design, the product liability, specification of the product and the services. Legal requirement is international requirement, and the Consumer Protection Act that comes around it. Yes, definitely specification of the product services, legal requirement, absolutely by the international standard, and only then the people would try to accept the services or enjoy the product that the company is offering to the end customer. Operating policies or manufacturing policy, what are they? We are looking at designing, selection, construction, maintenance of the premises, maintenance of the plant, equipment, and substances, the quality management, environmental management, and waste disposal. Looking at responsible waste disposal scenario is what we are looking at. We often, it has been seen that there are repercussions in the worldwide cases if people are not being paid fair wage, a day's fair wage altogether, or probably even children or women have been utilized to work on a full-time basis as a laborer out there. So there are operating policies, there are manufacturing policies that needs to be taken into consideration. IMS is information management system. How do we go around it? It is all about data creation, data management, and data analysis, which will identify what is good and what is not working in favor of the management. Yes, selection of the appropriate performance indicators is a must. Use of information technology in collections and analysis of the essential data thereby is a must. So organization carry out safety audit. We are talking about safety surveys, inspections, safety inspection, safety to, we are talking about safety sampling and hazard analysis and operating procedures as the case might be. We are looking what the organization can do: regular survey, regular audit, regular inspection, regular tool, and probably even regular cluster sampling, random sampling as the case might be. Let us look at the safety survey. It's a detailed examination of narrower field of activity. For example, key areas revealed in the safety audit, which are hazard prone, which are accident prone. Safety inspection is routine inspection, work which has been carried out in accordance with the procedures, etc. Safety 2 is unscheduled examination, hazards are removed by the standards are removed altogether. The sampling, the safety sampling is trained observers record the number of safety defects seen while touring specified location by a prescribed route. Typically, tours last for 15 minutes or are conducted at a weekly interval. The unweighted counts of defect is used to portray trends in the safety situation as on when on basis. This is safety, if I may say so. Let us understand the safety audit, all about monitoring, all about comparing the actual performances standards thereby. Needs to be comprehensive in orders. Yes, we need to be continuous. The safety audit needs to be on an actual performance standard. It has to be comprehensive. It is to be continuous. On the other hand, the audit would be not done by an insider. It is an external. It is a consultant. It is the specialist who would be doing it. The audit purpose not comprehensive and depends only upon the scope about it. Audit should be periodic. It should entail different types of audit as on when on basis. Let us understand what is electrical audit. Let us understand what is a fire safety audit, the pressure vessels audit, the life tackles audit as the case might be, or what we are looking into it, statutory regulations compliance audit, emergency communication audit, pipeline audit. Everything can be taken into consideration. Mind you, if I've named few of them, and this is just an impartial list which have been there, it's an incomplete list that has been presented in front of you. The only point that I wanted to stress upon my audiences is the fact that every audit is are being done only under the accident prone zone per se, be it electrical, be it fire safety, be it pressure vessels, be it lifting tackles. We lifted statutory regulations, the emergency communication audit, and the pipeline audit thereby. This is what we are looking around it. So, what does safety depends upon it? Let me try to build a graph in front of you slowly and steadily. It depends on your hardware. The hardware itself depends upon the engineering, how good it is, what is the tolerance level of the equipment, or how good amount of weight it can bear, how good amount of chemical it can bear, what is the servicing requirement for the hardware. Thereby, we should be looking at the procurement of the raw materials. We should be looking at the maintenance of the material then and there, because once the hardware materials things have been configured, we moved into the software things, which is all about the accident and the incident analysis that needs to be coming out with the data that has been provided out there. These are the things that will ensure whether people should be given the work permit or not, as the case might be. That is what we should be looking around here every now and then, as on when on basis. Yes, we are looking at work permit. Thereby, we are looking at the emergency exit as on when on basis. If that is to be done, how do we go around it? Now, between the hardware and the software is the human person. The human where comes in, the emotional being, the employee, the worker, the human, the person involved in the work, in the job. What does he brings up or what does she brings up? They need to have the personal protective equipment as on when on basis. We are looking for health and hygiene, that the person practices the task observation. Remember, everything accounts for the prevention of an accident. Yes, this is where the leadership actually figures out. Let us understand the safety audit. Thereby, occupiers are required to demonstrate their capability to design, locate, operate, maintain the facilities to standard acceptable to the government, public. Thereby, as on when on basis. Now, what is the audit? How do we go ahead with the audit? As the case might be, an audit is a systematic independent review to verify conformances with established guidelines or standards. It employs well-defined review process to ensure consistency and to allow auditors to reach defensible conclusion. The auditors will be able to pinpoint what is going wrong or what is the thing that is working in a different fashion and not in a prescribed fashion. So objectives of the safety audit is all about design deficiency, to find out the weaknesses which might have been cropped out and suggest modification or addition as on when on basis. Fire protection arrangement and the safety system needs to be taken care of. The operating maintenance procedures that degraded with the passage of time, that can happen. Usually it happens. Yeah, even as a human being, there are ups and downs with your health. Similar is the case with your equipment, machines, and machineries. The plant might require regular maintenances per se. The training of the human beings, the preparedness for handling emergency should always be incorporated in the hands. Let us understand the scope of the audit. Now, with fire, with explosion, we look forward toward preventing and protecting. Emergency management. With terms of work injuries, it is all about preventions. With terms of health hazards control, what are we looking into it? The consequences of emergencies then and there. On-site emergencies control, if possible, how do we with it? So, yes, the occupational safety and health system, as in what happens with it, the occupational health and safety policy states the organizational setup that mandates, gives a proper guidance altogether. We need to definitely educate and probably groom the workforce. Thereby, employee participation in occupational safety and hazard management is important. Motivational promotional measures for occupational safety and hazard. Yes, people need to be kept on prepped upon trainings every now and then, every monthly, every quarterly, as on when on basis. The safety manual, the safety rules should be adhered, the compliance with the statutory requirements, as the case might be. New equipment inspection. Let us continue. What can be done with the accident report analysis? How do we investigate and what is the outcome of investigations? That outcome needs to be implemented. Recommendation has to be percolated or communicated to the respective authorities. Risk assessment, including the identification of hazard, should be done. We are obviously, yes, looking for the safety inspection then and there. Health and safety improvement plans and target, if possible, let us go ahead with it. We are talking about first aid facilities, the occupational health centers, as and when on basis. These first aid facilities, the occupational health center, should be at the premises of the factory, the plant, the organization. I'm talking about is, yes, proper PPE or personal protective equipment should be made available. Good housekeeping, keeping things stacked, keeping things indexed, keeping things in the right fashion helps in keeping away injuries and accidents. The machine and the general area guarding should be incorporate. The rails has to be there, the handrails in the staircase has to be there, the stair rails should be there in case if it is a ladder that comes around it. We are looking about the right method of handling materials equipment thereby. So what are the elements that continues? Electrical and personal safeguarding, are there any, if any? Ventilation, illumination, and noises. As on when on basis, what is ventilation, what is illumination, the noises, the work environment monitoring system, as the case might be. We are talking about prevention of occupational disease, including periodic medical examination. What are they and how do we go across with it? What are the SOPs, as in standard operating procedures per se? What are the work permit system comes around? How do we go across with it? Fire prevention, protections and fighting systems, emergency preparedness plans, on-site and off-site, as on when on basis. The process plan modification procedures, if possible, let us go ahead with it and do the requisite things as on when on basis. Definitely, we are looking for the elements that needs to be transportation of hazardous material. Why do we go about it? So, transportation of hazardous materials, the hazardous waste treatment, as on when on basis, the disposals. We are looking at safety in storage, safety in warehousing. The contractor safety system needs to be put in place and adhered to. We are looking for safety for customer, including MSDS, material safety data sheets, that comes around. Yes, the records to be examined during the audit, all the check boxes, all should be ticked in the correct fashion. As far as occupational safety and hazard policies, the safety organizational chart, who is responsible for which all area, what are the supervisors, what are the safety officers assigned, and in cases of emergency, what standard operating procedures needs to be followed around it. So the training needs to be there on the records, on the safety, on the fire and the first aid, as on when on basis. AIR is an accident investigation reports. Can we go ahead with it and document everything that has happened in case of an accident? If we cannot, if we're not able to prevent it, let us document it so that we learn from what has happened and what needs to be done, what needs to be avoided, and similar accidents should be avoided in future. Accident and dangerous occurrence statistical analysis, as the case might be. We should put in the test, the examination of the equipment and the structure, thereby safe operating procedures of various operation, and I'm talking about any and every operation, right from customer handling to mining to operating in the shop floor, and probably even the documentation process. That is all about the records of work permits they've been given, record of monitoring flammable explosive equipment. Let us understand how do we go with the maintenance and testing records. Let us understand, keep a medical history records of an employee, because this helps, as in what all medicines he or she, the employees I'm talking about, is allergic to and must not be administered. Record of industrial hygiene service, the noise ventilation, the illumination levels, the airborne, the toxic substance, the explosive, the material safety data sheets, MSDS, needs to be put in, documented, and accessible as on when on basis. On site emergency plans have to be recorded. There has to be a mock drill. Records of waste disposal, records of effluent discharge of the environment, housekeeping inspection record. Thereby, if we are looking forward towards it, yes, the minutes of the safety committee meeting has to be documented and percolated to each and every individual whoever is getting associated with that work area, or approvals of the layout and other approval from statutory authorities. Get it done from the responsible person, get it done from the right offices, and you have doing the following the dictates of going towards a zero accident policy. So, records of any modification carried out in the plant, if so, what was the outcome about it? Maintenance procedure record, calibration of testing records, shutdown maintenance procedure, in service inspection of manual records, including that of material handling, the safety sheets, the safety budget, the statutory record, the previous auditor report. Everything that you can document is only another means of an arms and ammunition to keep accidents at obey. You remember, it is your act, it is your dedication, it is your behavior, it is the follow up to the standard operating procedures which will make your workplace as an accident free zone altogether. With these words, I come to an end of this wonderful presentation. Remember, this was a little bit on a theoretical basis, but if you follow the dictates, you will have a happy and a secure workplace to work upon. Thank you once again for watching this video.